we encourage you to always cash out. And of course, we always say you have to make sure that you memorize the short code *439# and let us have some great conversation, as you also get to have some freebies coming your way into your mobile money account. And so *439# is always available for cash out. We'll make sure by the close of the segment we are in a position to put together a draw for you, and then also you become one of the lucky mini winners for today. Also available for you is Dewa 539 Chop Money, and the short code for Dewa 539 Chop Money is *446#, and you have to select option 2, and then you also get to win 20 times your stake with Direct 1, 40 times your stake with Direct 2, or 400 times your stake with Direct 3. You also get to pick between the numbers of the ranges 1 to 39, and then you get to win as well. Again, apart from just the short code *446#, you also get to have all your concerns, customer complaints, or also some of the feedback that you want to give to the NLA through the website being possible, and www.dewa-nla.com is available for you. You also have a customer care line. You get onto that website, you get to see it as well. Now, thank you for joining us. Today, we want to look at a pertinent issue, and this time the former President John Dramani Mahama has been raising this as a concern, and then creating a position that there has to be a balance in what he calls the judiciary, because he says that the president seems to be abusing his discretionary power of having appointed a number of individuals, he says, for protectionist reasons. Now, is that the case? Why should the former president be making this? And so we'll preface this conversation with that. Let me just introduce our guest for the morning. So we have right here the Member of Parliament who also represents the people of Jirapa, and Cletus Seidu Dapela is here. He'll be joined later by Salah Mustafa, who is a Deputy National Organizer for the ruling party. Thank you for joining us this morning.
National Youth Organizing.
Okay. And then also let us know what you think about this. Join our stream. TV3 Ghana is always available for you. Let us know what you think about this throughout this conversation. Now, in the meantime, let's get a recall. First from former President John Dramani Mahama, and then a retired Supreme Court judge, and Justice Atuguba.
Beyond just monetary inducements, now it is also seen that the judiciary is partisan, and a lot of people feel that, justice is not served in many cases. And then we bear the brunt of that. You feel that the judiciary is partisan. The judiciary is packed with NPP inclined judges, because this government has carried out a deliberate policy of putting their people on the bench. It's more than 80 towards 100 and counting. He's packed the courts, and we know that they've packed the courts because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. And so all manner of people who are known to have been partisan, to have been executives of their party, who are in the legal profession, are being leapfrogged into the superior courts and other places. Must be prepared as NDC legal persons to also go onto the bench, so that we can balance out, the judiciary. Currently, the judiciary is packed with NPP inclined judges, because this government has carried out a deliberate policy of putting their people on the bench. And so I encourage some of you to look at careers on the bench, so that we can balance out what the current situation is.
Are they technocrats? Are they the people running back? They will use politics to poison the system. The power belongs to the people. The educated people must help the people to take charge of the country, which belongs to them, and benefit from it by putting in place real and practical institutions that will bring them benefit in their daily lives. and not be playing tricks with a system I will call democratic, and it's an instrument for defrauding the people, impoverishing them, deepening the poison of partisan politics, further and further and further. Our life now is just you situate yourself politically and get what you can get from it. That is becoming our drive of life in this country.
Now, is that really the case? And can we make any justification for this? Now, this also has raised concerns among members of the bar. I have to say generally the legal fraternity, but is there a genuine case for this as being raised by the former president? And then if it is or is not, how do we make sure that we posit this within the national narrative? Now, let me just go to you, Mr. Dabila. What do you make of the former president's own comments as well? We have Mustafa here, and he's the National Youth Organizer for the ruling party. Thank you. You took part in the election, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So you voted for Bawumia. You said you would.
I voted.
You voted.
I voted. As to who I voted for, it's not a subject of public discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, just being mischievous.
Very lucky. No, it was a question. Now
Thank you, my brother Roland. Let me say good morning to yourself and the entire crew of TV3, my good brother, the National Youth Organizer of the MPP. Roland, it is honestly very true that the judiciary that is supposed to be fighting for the downtrodden, that the population should have confidence and should be comfortably taking their cases to. Many Ghanaians have perceived the judiciary to be very biased and corrupt, and that cannot be too good for our democracy.
How do you come by that conclusion?
Roland, the truth is that to buttress the statement made by the former president, President Mahama, currently we have 13 justices of the Supreme Court. One appointed by former President Kufuor, and one appointed by President Mahama, and 11 appointed by President Nana Akufo-Addo. So, to your question, for the past 6 years, the only cases that government lost were just 2 in the last 6 years. The COVID imposition restrictions and the ousted Auditor General, that is the former Auditor General, Justice, what is that?
Are you talking this one relative to which of the courts? Because we have the Superior Court of Judicature.
Yes, I'm talking of the Superior Court.
Okay.
The Supreme Court.
So the Superior Court will start from the High Court.
Yes, I'm talking of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Talking of the Supreme Court.
But you cannot limit your conversation only to the Supreme Court.
Yes, I'm coming. I'm building my case. I'm building my points. I'm saying that. So if you go to the Supreme Court, where you have one president who has appointed 11 out of the 13. And so you should not be surprised that the government only lost 2 cases in the last 6 years. That is the point that I am making. You see, perception is real.
What is the perception?
Oh, it is how people think about a situation, how people perceive, how the people perception about an institution, the institutions of the court. That is what I'm talking about. People thinking, people imagination, how people look at the operations of the court. That is what I'm talking about. So I'm saying that if you have a president who deliberately is packing the court with cronies of a particular party of his party, then you don't expect the populace to have confidence in the court. Because perception is real. What I perceive about you, Roland, it is my own opinion. You cannot tell me that this is who you are. Your actions and inactions will determine how I perceive about you. So the actions and inactions of the president with regards to how or certain personalities that he's appointed to the Supreme Court, it is what is making people not to have confidence in the court.
Do you know that there's a general rule that the law is in the bosom of the judge?
Yes, the law is in the bosom of the judge, but the appointer, the one that appoints the judges, is the one we are talking about here. So you ought to appoint people who are not perceived to be political assigns of your party.
How so?
Yes, so that you take away that tack. Roland, we are doing politics. We are in a democracy. So if you are to appoint persons to the court where people shouldn't perceive it to be biased, you ought to appoint people who are not politically exposed. But so many politically exposed persons have been appointed by the current president.
Like who?
So many. You heard of Justice Gau. He contested as MPP parliamentary candidate. 2 times he failed. He was appointed by Nana Addo. You heard of Clemens Jackson Hononuga. He was an appeals court judge who, in an open forum or a program, endorsed President Nana Addo's second term bid.
Oh, he did even ascend to the Supreme Court, yes.
Yes, he was an appeal court judge.
He retired, yes.
He did that, and then that gave him the opportunity and to be appointed to the Supreme Court. That is what we are talking about. So when you appoint such persons into the Supreme Court or the higher court, you are only trying to negate the gains that have been made since 1992. So for me, I am not very comfortable about what is happening in our courts. The justices of the Supreme Court and the other higher courts, they are not happy when people criticize them, but they should take it kindly. They are being paid by the taxpayers. They are not, the legislature, parliament, when they err, people lampoon and lambast them. The executive, when they err, people criticize them, people vilify them, people criticize them, they are critic. So the Supreme Court and other justices of the court, when they err, when they handle cases that people think that they are biased and people talk, they shouldn't come after them.
But Mr. Dapela, if you go to the Constitution, for example, you go to Article 125(3), it says the judicial power of Ghana shall be vested in the judiciary. Accordingly, neither the President or Parliament nor any organ or agency of the President or Parliament shall have or be given final judicial power. So while the President may be appointing these individuals, others also may argue that once they enter that section of the bench, they become neutral. Is that not a good argument to make?
No, it is not the case. It is not the case. So that is what the Constitution says.
Yes.
So what the former president is calling on the current president to do, or what he should have been doing, is to appoint people who are not politically exposed. Don't appoint card-bearing members to the bench. When you do that, naturally, they owe you that allegiance. They owe the party that allegiance.
What do you mean, card-bearing members of his party?
Yes, card-bearing members. Okay. If you are not a card-bearing member of a party, you cannot contest on the ticket of that party. So such persons have been appointed to the bench.
Do you know in 2015, the former president, and we're talking about when he was president,
President Mahama,
he did appoint Gabriel Puaman.
Yes.
In the course of my career,
I have
interacted with Mr. Gabriel Puaman as the General Secretary of the PNC.
Let me tell you that the former president could have appointed Alhaji Hudi Yaya, who was former secretary, who is our former general secretary. He didn't do that. Justice Puaman's appointment was done to actually show some kind of all-inclusiveness, just to balance the bar. There is the same balanced justice delivery that the former president is talking about. You understand? He didn't appoint. Tell me which other political party person has Nana Akufo-Addo appointed to the bench? None. All
from
the
other sections
of the political divide. He hasn't appointed anybody. The former president could have appointed members or former executives of the NDC. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. So Justice Puaman's appointment was a unique opportunity to have a balanced judiciary. And for me, once the former president didn't appoint an NDC assigned, but rather a PNC man who he thinks that when he comes into the bench will blend, will come with fairness and all of that. For me, it is neither here nor there. He did a good job, and the point still is that the current president is appointing so many members of the MPP to the bench, and that is not giving us confidence to have, to believe in the bench and believe in the justice delivery system. So he's calling for fairness, equity, so that the poor, the downtrodden, the vulnerable can comfortably walk to the court with their chest out, knowing that they will get justice at the end of the day. That is all that the former president is calling for.
Mustafa, there seem to be some good arguments being made here, because there are individuals who are politically exposed, who also maybe have some level of relationship with the president beyond just being politically exposed, who also have been appointed within the regime of the president. That seemed to give credence to what former President John Dramani Mahama is saying. Is that a good argument?
Roland, good morning to you, my brother Cletus, Honorable Cletus, your viewers and everybody watching us this morning. It cannot be, and I cannot accept such an argument any day. I think that this is one of the most reckless prepositions that I am hearing in the last, moments in our political dispensation. And I think that we should not go down this line. And I followed my brother. He was struggling to justify the comments of former President John Dramani Mahama. And when you put the issue of Gabriel Pwamang to him, he was flip-flopping, because you nailed the hypocrisy in the entire effusion being blown out there. Look, the judiciary is the last bastion of our democracy. And all the things we do, we shouldn't take our ugly politics to it. And that's exactly what the NDC, being led by their flag bearer, have done exactly. All of a sudden, everything, every state institution is bad in this country because it's the MPP that is in charge and not the NDC. The judiciary is bad. The police is bad. The EC is bad. The military is bad. For the NDC, everything is bad.
Why do you say that?
That is the disposition of the NDC. Everything in this country, because they are not in charge, is bad. This is the same judiciary that John Dramani Mahama left as president. The structure, nothing has changed. In 2000, when
individuals have changed. That's his argument.
It will always change. He had the opportunity as president to appoint Yao Apau as a Supreme Court Justice, Gabriel Pwamang. President Kufuor had the same opportunity to appoint the likes of Bafo Boni, Doche and Co. President Akufo-Addo has had this opportunity. It is not President Akufo-Addo's fault that people have retired and he has to replace them. Is it President Akufo-Addo who went and told people that at this particular age, join the judiciary?
It's a question rather not. And this is
what... at this particular stage, you will retire
this
and now
is what
replace...
the former president is saying, that while you have the power of discretion, you exercise that power in such a way that the perception doesn't grow. So, for example, there's one Justice Yaoje who clearly stood on the ticket of the ruling party. And unless you say you don't realize that, there are videos of him campaigning on a campaign platform, canvassing votes for the ruling party. In order for you not to increase that level of perception about that level of bias by you, the appointing authority, you have to make sure that doesn't become a question to be raised.
Roland, in 1993, there was an NDC MP for Adan, Amos Lawe Boate. NDC MP. He is more human being than anybody else. These people who have been appointed, they don't qualify. They are not, in the position to deliver justice for the people of Ghana. We say that they don't merit the appointment just because you have a feeling that they affiliate to a certain political party. They are not Ghanaians. They don't have the requisite qualification to hold the position. Is that the argument? My brother, your former MP, Justice Francis Kobe, hasn't he been in the bench? Is he not a known NDC MP? So what is this hypocrisy? You see, it has become an organized hypocrisy under the NDC that we are seeing of late. Organized hypocrisy. I have seen desperation. I've seen desperate people. The desperation of the NDC for power and John Dramani Mahama is one that is on cloud 9. I've never seen this kind of desperation before. Organized hypocrisy. Every time they speak, you see there is no substance. All they are doing is to wrap every institution in the mud just for the parochial interest. Just because John Dramani Mahama wants to be president. One person this country has given everything to, John Dramani Mahama. He has been MP, deputy minister, vice president, president, everything. Now you want to be president again. The same institutions that guarantee all of us freedom, that we are all going about doing our things in normal. These say the same person who wants to be president is bastardizing the entire, system. So all of a sudden, in the unlikely event John Dramani becomes president again, all of these state institutions are going to somersault 360 just because he has become president. Who among these people is he going to remove? And to make it even worse, to tell your people that when we come, we will balance it, clearly tells that your entire interest is carnal, is parochial, and you do not have any interest of the state at heart, and that all that you are coming to do is to serve a certain parochial interest. And he mentioned it. Look, I was shocked when I was watching the former president. I watched it on this same network. I watched it here on a news item. And I was shocked. This person led Ghana and clamoring for a return.
Is that not because he led Ghana and knows how the workings of the presidency is? That's why he's calling for...
I have worked in the presidency.
Okay. That's why he's calling for a certain level of fairness in the appointment.
Look, in 2000, when President Kufuor became president, there is no single appointee that was his... The entire judiciary was NDC appointed. The electoral commissioner was appointed by the NDC. The IGP Peter Namfori then was appointed by Jerome.
But he was just coming for 2001. So what was your expectation?
Everybody in the system then was appointed by the NDC. But President Kufuor came in. We have worked over the period. The justices we came to meet until they went on retirement have been in the system. And this same judiciary that is being busted, lambasted, lampooned, destroyed, castigated, was the same judiciary that upheld the election of John Dramani Mahama in 2013, which we had disagreement with, but we accepted it. Roland, tell me at one occasion that you have seen the NPP organized attack on the judiciary. Tell me one. Even when we disagree with the court, we say that we disagree with you. And that's exactly what Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo did in 2013 when we disagreed with the Supreme Court. That this brings finality to the matter, even though we disagree, but we respect the court. We have always respected state institutions, taking our time to go out and get our case out there. We don't lampoon institutions just for the sake of it, just because you have to talk, you open your mouth at any angle and throw anything out there. I don't think that that is democracy. Let's protect the institutions that we have. The judiciary will not change overnight just because the presidency has changed. It will not. And you see, one thing that even makes it very annoying is the suggestion that, in quotes, these people are some bunch of idiots that don't reason, and that when cases are brought to them, they will rule in favor, of the ruling government or the appointer because they owe a blind allegiance. Roland, the NDC promised to prosecute NPP appointees in 2008, 2009. They were corrupt, and all the songs they sang in this country. They sat in power for 9 years and couldn't prosecute even a fly. They couldn't jail a fly of the NPP. They are back with the same narrative. It's because they want to dodge accountability. That is why they have packed. Please, we have gone beyond these shenanigans, this chauvinistic thinking, and savory attack, on institutions for no reason, just for the cheap political points. I think that the former president can do better. He's above that, and should begin to show that he's a leader, and he has led this country before, and that he didn't just drop from Mars, and that we know him, and we know his track record in this country, and that of his party. And that's why I have used the word consistently. Organized hypocrisy has become the order of the day for the NDC, and it is not good.
Mr. Rabla, at the end of the day, the former president wants again to become president.
Yes.
Now, what will be some of the justifiable reasons? Is it for the current member of parliament for Assin North, who, of course, has been asked to be going to court every day, even though there have been some bases why we've had some important cases also in court, not having the same rulings on them in the course.
Roland, let me before I come to you,
of the adjudication of those individual cases.
Let me tell my brother Mustafa that he got it all wrong. The former president did not talk about President Kufuor's appointment. He didn't talk about former President Rawley's appointment. He is very specific about who is appointing political cronies, and he never misses words. He said President Nana Addo, the current president, is using his discretional powers anyhow to appoint his party assigns. That is the point, that the topic that we are discussing. Don't veer into President Kufuor came to meet persons that were appointed and he never changed them and all of that. That is not the issue.
When you do that,
it is another. I'm coming. No, you are missing the argument. You are missing the argument. The argument is about the current president. So that's what I'm saying. So the former, let's don't put words in the former president's mouth.
Your power was not the case.
The former president said that President Akufo-Addo, he talked about President Akufo-Addo's regime. So take him on that and look at the issues that he has raised, whether he has made sense or not. And for me, the former president has made sense.
No.
Listen, Mustafa, I'm coming. Don't interject. You take your time. I just want you to know that he talked about a particular regime, particularly the President Akufo-Addo's regime, and the caliber of persons that he is appointing to the court, to the bench. That is the point that we are making here. And he's saying that we have to balance the judiciary. We need to have a fair justice delivery system so that the populace, the Ghanaian public, can have confidence in our judiciary. That is all that the former president is talking about. He didn't talk about former President Rawley's regime. He didn't talk about former President Kufuor's regime. So take him on that and read the issues, read the statement very well, and you come to realize that he's made the right point. There are so many examples that you talk of state institutions. Roland, most of the state institutions now are being helplessly manipulated by the current administration. In fact, you don't even have one. Look at the posturing of the caliber of people that have been appointed. Electoral Commission, all the state institutions. Look at their posturing. Surprisingly, there was a program at the Pentecost organized a program at Feta Kakarba. I don't know what it was for.
The national conference.
The national conference.
Development conference.
You know, Roland, I can show you a video when the former president was being introduced and when he was to address the gathering. If you saw the video and saw the posturing of the current Chief Justice, how the lady frowned and looked at the former president, my brother, you will know that this woman hates this man to the marrow.
Don't do this.
I will do it.
No,
I will do it. But I'm being obvious. Salam. I'm saying I have evidence. Salam, listen. I said I have evidence.
You mean the video that was...
Yes, I can show you the video.
Somebody will say it's a coincidence.
But
how can
you know
it be
facial
coincidence?
expressions?
How can it be coincidence? Salam, why? Your facial expression tells a lot. That's communication.
Don't do that.
When we are communicating, your facial expression speaks.
No, don't do that.
Gestures speaks.
Don't attack
Gestures
people
are communication.
for absolutely
no.
no
Listen,
reason.
Salam, listen. Be patient.
Mustafa.
Why are you people?
Mustafa,
why are you people so desperate? You should.
let him make his
You
point.
should have patience.
If you have issues,
when you
just
were
make
talking, I kept quiet.
Mr. Dapila, go ahead.
When you were talking.
And so because her expressions as shown on TV when it was switched were different.
Yes, you understand. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, it is the same state institutions that former President Mahama is coming to work with, inshallah, when he becomes president of Ghana. It will happen by his grace. I know Ghanaians will punish you because your records are very bad.
He has a very bad
Why?
record.
President Mahama record, look, Roland, don't let us veer into a different thing. No. Why?
Let's make your point.
President Mahama's record is so superior that today...
You were on some independent institutions.
I'm coming.
Please.
The President Mahama's record...
Mustafa,
listen.
Don't disrupt the program.
President Mahama's record, whether inflation, whether exchange rate, whether prices of petroleum, cost of living, you cannot. That is why even in the MPP presidential primaries, all of them are running away from their records. This one will go and say that why wasn't part. Even the vice president, who is the manager, who is the chairman of the economic management team, is running away from their own record. So for record, forget it. The MPP cannot compare their record to President Mahama's record. Ghanaians knows that, and they will punish you in 2024. Come to talk of state institutions. We know that President Mahama is coming to work with the same institutions. But President Mahama will exercise that power with moderation. He's not going to be appointing politically exposed person to certain institutions, particularly the judiciary. That is the point that we are condemning. He's not going to do that, and he will not do it. So for me, it is the same state institutions, but he is going to exercise that power discretionally very well. He won't come and just look at anybody and appoint. Recently, you notice that some patrons of MPP were appointed to the Electoral Commission. Those are the things that we will not do. Those are the things that President Mahama will not do. That is how they are packing this so-called independent state institutions with their cronies. That is what we are condemning. You cannot, why? You are the referee. I'm going to play football with you. Then you openly show that you are supporting Team A and you are going to be the referee. And you are going to be the one to be the referee. And you openly shows that this is the team that you are coming from. How will I have confidence that you won't be biased? How can I have confidence in you? That is the point that we are making. Salam, let's don't just sit here and bastardize the former president. Let's look at what the former president said. There's substance in it. He's made his point. He's calling on people, Ghanaians, and the populace that let us all try to call the president out and let the president know that what he's doing, everybody can reason. Everybody can reason and know that this is what he's up to. So we all know what the president is up to. That is why he's packing the court with the MPP cronies. Nothing less, nothing more.
Just mention one MPP crony. Mention them.
Why?
Mention the MPP cronies.
MPP cronies.
Yes.
I've mentioned some of them.
And tell
why?
And prove
Justice
to us that.
I mentioned Justice Gao.
Prove to us that you know that they are card-bearing members of the MPP.
Why? Justice Gao.
Mustafa. The argument in the court of public opinion is that the posture of the appointing authority, who here is the president, of course, mandated by the Constitution, and then also the actions of the body itself, then lend credence to people's confidence in such institutions. You look at the various Afrobarometer reports or surveys that have been undertaken over the last 2-3 years, don't give a certain level of confidence to the judiciary. You even go just still within the term of the president, where we had Anas also prior to that raising key issues in his expose that clearly expose key individuals within the judiciary. Of course, we've had some of them who subsequently have been exonerated. In the beginning of the term of the current president, we had a whole bunch of groups, a vigilante group, attacking a court, and there was still the state filing a nolle prosequa. Is it not the posture that tends to give some of these concerns from politically exposed persons, individuals who are stakeholders, and even the former president raising this issue?
No, Roland,
what else?
I think you are trying to put a context for the former president that he himself did not put.
I'm not putting a contest. I'm asking key
You
issues,
understand? I'm saying
key questions based on
two
events.
different issues.
No, they are not two different
They are
issues.
two different
When
issues.
individuals
I'm coming.
attack a court, for example,
No.
and
He
then the
says
state,
that.
the state files a null
I'm coming.
prosequa.
He says that the MPP wants to run away from accountability. That is why the president is packing the judiciary with MPP cronies. One, it is absolutely superfluous, no basis, because the president has not asked anybody the party card before appointing the person. Nobody goes for appointment, and this is my membership of the MPP, and that it is the basis.
The former president hasn't also said individuals who
that's the suggestion.
No, appointed,
and that's why he was telling his NDC people that when we come back, let's do same, let's balance it. But I'm saying, Justice Yao Apau was an NDC cadre. It was John Dramani Mahama who appointed him. He's not politically exposed. I keep telling you, it is organized hypocrisy. Look, don't follow these NDC people. They will take you into the ditch. Because for them, they must run everything down once they are not those in charge. Look, I said this before. The justices are not, in quotes, idiots. That regardless of how bad your case is, they will still make it look good for you. No. Government has gone to court and lost cases. And I have told you.
The Supreme Court, I said the last 6 years.
No, please,
if you take a bad case to the Supreme Court, you lose. Just like how you went to challenge the 2020 results of the election without a single, without an iota of evidence. They just went to sit and waste everybody's time. And you think the court is a joking place that will just give a ruling for no reason? We are not joking. We are building a state. And that's why I'm saying that if there's any basis, bring it. But not this whole joke of we want to balance this and that.
We went to court based on results declared by
the cronies of a certain party and so on and so forth. Look, my brother, me, there is nobody in this country who would come and convince me about winning elections, because I've seen it all in our electoral cycles. John Dramani Mahama appointed Charlotte Osei, I'm lying, without consultation, without consulting anybody, which he had the power to. He appointed her. At the end of the day,
those appointments are made in consultation with the councillors.
They misbehaved.
He did.
She wasn't even talking terms with her own deputy. It was her deputies who filed, a petition against her. Or you don't know that one?
No.
At the end of the day, Charlotte Osei declared Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo
your party
as
drivers
president.
in electoral commission
You understand?
to write against her.
The people don't control the votes. The votes are the polling stations. So if you are desperate for power, what you should be doing is learning how to collate results. It's going back to the people and go and campaign. Like I'm saying, we'll get to the point of comparative records, where we'll bring our record versus the NDC record. And I'm saying, if there's any worst president this country has had, it's John Dramani Mahama, who is also the most favored person. Because for him to have tasted every single position this country has, and still in this quagmire, behaving like a pampered adult, that we should bastardize everything for his sake, I think it's uncalled for. And we should begin to call out the former president for this behavior. That no, you have led this country before, and we saw what you did. It's not as if it was some spectacular, stellar performance. No,
my brother Mustafa
you understand? And that if today you are sitting home and want to stage a comeback, the basis of a comeback should not be premised on an organized hypocrisy that the party is running. Everything they do. Look, I can take the former president one by one on issues that he says. This is a
Mustafa, let me run this by you. Mustafa, let me run this by you. Let me run this by you. In 2013, which was, of course, post that declaration, we had Gabi Asare-Otchere-Darko tweeting, "This was a corrupt judgment, and I say, without apologies, potentially dangerous to our democracy." And then he goes on to say, "My advice, ignore the judiciary. They can't be bothered to undertake their primary duty of defending the Constitution. Let us work to do what we need to do to avoid problems with future elections. And then he concludes. Gabi Asare-Ochudaakun concludes. The Supreme Court is farcical. And then in the half year of 2016, we have Eslo Usu-Ekufo, you know, the Member of Parliament, now the Communications Minister, saying our judiciary is under threat, and the man who is the greatest beneficiary of their independence is silent. And says that we need most of our Ekufos who will say it as it is and damn the consequences. And there is hope yet for this nation. I hope our colleagues are following recent occurrences in this upside down of ours. And that was the period of the former president, for which the judiciary also expressed their views consequently. Now, you take a look at this and you say it is the former president who is attacking the judiciary.
Of course.
How so?
I don't see.
So all these references made to Gabi Asare-Ochudaakun and then subsequently Eslo Usu.
At the end of the day,
yes,
the presidential candidate had a press conference where he said he was the person in contention. He said that
don't run away
we
from
accept the results, even though we disagree with the Supreme Court.
No.
Okay? Look, this. We produce evidence.
Perhaps
in 2020.
Perhaps
everybody in this country. Everybody in this country.
Perhaps you didn't. You didn't apprise.
He can't answer. He's running away from it.
I heard you.
This was a corrupt judgment.
I heard you.
And I say so without apologies. Potentially dangerous to our democracy.
Gabi is not the president.
Yo, we're here.
Yes. Gabi
so
is not
he
the
says
president.
that the Supreme Court is farcical.
The NDC people have labeled the Supreme Court as
very
unanimous
undistinguished
FC.
and dangerous statement to make. This one doesn't attack the judiciary.
The NDC people have described the judiciary, the Supreme Court, as unanimous FC, you know, giving it all sorts of names. Even the former president is using the same names to describe the judiciary. If one person in the NPP says something, it does not reflect the collective thoughts of everybody in the NPP. The presidential candidate at the point said that he, who was the presidential candidate, I disagree with the judgment, but I accept it. And it brings finality to the challenge of the elections. And we left it there and went back. And like Gabi says, at the end of the day, you are an MP. You understand how elections are won. Go back to your polling station and go and work. Because at the end of the day, Ghana's election is it's one of the most transparent I have seen. I've gone to partake in UK elections. I have done American elections where they mail ballots to you in the house to take what you want and so. No. Ghana's election, the day go and line up and vote. At the end of the polls, the ballot box is open, poured, sorted, counted, declared there, and everybody takes the results and leaves. All the media now collates results. One of the most the transparent, freest countries you can have their election all over. So nobody in this country can come and tell me that, you know, there's a grand scheme to rig the elections has been banded by the NDC. When they move from that, they somersault into another one. It is the police service. From there, now so it
Mustafa,
is the judiciary.
The conclusion you are making is that whilst you have a signs of your political party making some of these derogatory comments against the judiciary, raising concerns.
So many comments, and articles from NDC
and then you
people,
also say
from the General Secretary,
Mustafa,
from the Chairman.
You also say, despite the President being the appointing authority, whoever he appoints shouldn't be subject to any concerns and then perhaps public opinion. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying so.
Okay.
The President doesn't appoint people based on their political colorization. He does not. If a CB is submitted to the President, he goes through and the person has the competence to. Why? The person is not a Ghanaian and the person doesn't qualify to hold the position. When President John Dramani Mahama appointed Grebe Kwaman and Yao Apao as justices, they didn't deserve it.
You never answered my question.
I've answered it.
And so your counter question is that the appointment now be made executive.
You understand? I have answered it.
Because all these, up up to this point, then increased the perception, as also reflected in the various Afrobarometer that have been surveyed and reports also issued publicly over the last couple of years, which conclusively say the public doesn't have confidence in the judiciary. For example, why should we have the newly appointed in the by-election of Asin North going to court every day, when we have other important cases which even connoisseurs and watchers of the judiciary and of course the law in Ghana have say don't give a certain sense of fair judgment or fair rulings by the judiciary?
Look, Roland,
what's your answer to that?
If we are going to be very honest in this country, that serves the best interest of even the MP for Asin North.
How so?
That the case is expedited with and disposed in his own interest.
He says
I'm
that
coming.
rather becomes a hindrance to him serving his people. That's what he has said personally.
The term of office is coterminous. So the earlier you have it dispensed with, the better for you.
He says that that is a hindrance to him able to serve as
he cannot sit and tell us
but
what he wants.
But you are not the member of parliament. He says he's a member of parliament.
He, the member of parliament, doesn't sit and determine what he wants, what is favorable for him. The law is subject to, we're all subject to the law, and not the other way around.
The law must not having a spirit and letter?
And that is what is going. He's been subject to the law. He has not been taken to a kangaroo court. He has been taken through the legal jurisprudence system of this country.
The process is kangaroo.
You understand?
The process
no kangaroo system. Look, it is in his best interest. If at the end of the day, he was not validly elected, we should not wait 4 years before that determination is done. At the end of the day, under normal circumstances, these cases are supposed to end at the High Court. But the NDC, just because of their interest to hold on to the seat, have been involved in this legal gymnastics to ensure that the man is able to run the 4-year course. At the end of the day, for me, he should even be thankful to the court that you say I should come to court every single day, and that we'll be able to dispense of this case. For me to serve my people in Asin North, better.
You don't think it matters?
He erred. He wronged the law. And that's the first point of all.
We're talking about the ruling of the court.
There's basis.
There's a ruling of the court in the ongoing case.
He offended the law. He lied. At the start of the process of filing to become an MP, he lied.
He never lied.
He did. Even as at October, this man was still traveling on his, Canadian passport, only for the election to be held in December. His people, look, we didn't start this case. It was people in Asin North, his own party people, who held press conferences and brought the issue.
That's very laughable. We know that these are individuals who are, of course, always...
His youth organizer, the youth organizer for NDC is laughable. That is your words.
Link to the ruling party.
All of us in this country knows how to win elections. Democracy is just not about conducting elections. There are processes that lead to elections. So if you are conducting elections and you are skewing the process, thinking that the other political parties have
what do you mean by skewing the process?
Yeah, skewing the process. Let me just give you an example. They are going to open limited register for people who are 18 and above, who haven't had the opportunity to capture their names, to go and write their names. The CI that the Electoral Commissioner, the chairperson of the EC is relying on.
You mean the current one?
The current one is relying on.
The 126, yeah.
The 126. 126 have always said that EC should do registration in all polling stations, not district offices. But that is what the woman is doing.
So
you understand? So I'm telling you that these are some of the
things.
Read
126 again.
Let me tell you, I'm telling you, 126 again. I am telling you about 126 again. Why? That is, I'm in parliament. I know the law.
No.
126, I'm coming. 126 have not said that the Electoral Commissioner should do registration at the district offices of the Electoral Commission.
Because then others cannot get access.
Others cannot get access, but that is what she is doing. And my brothers are supporting that. If there is no certain motive attached to that, why will the woman want to do that? Why will the chairperson of the EC want to do that? Why should we keep quiet over such things? My brother, let's don't support elections. We know how to win elections. We know how the processes are skewed to favor a political party. So when the EC, the chairperson, is doing some of these things, we ought to condemn it. We shouldn't allow her. Look, Jirapa, there is a community called Ndowala.
In your constituency?
In my constituency. If you go there, and if somebody should come from Ndowala to Jirapa town, the district office, to come and register, I'm telling you that he's going to spend the whole day. He's going to spend the whole day. And even when he comes, he or she cannot be guaranteed that he will be registered, because sometimes they come and they say link failure.
So what will you be doing now?
What are we going to do? We are calling on the woman to change her decision. And we want our brothers to all support it. Because the people that are coming to register, you don't even know whether they are NPP or NDC. But they are quiet because they know it is going to be in their benefit. It's inured to their benefit. That's why they are quiet. Otherwise, no political party in its own right or in its own thinking will allow the woman to do the things that he's doing. So those are the things that we are talking about. So when people are appointed to certain state institutions and people are saying that they will be biased, these are some of the issues that we are talking about.
Mr. Dabela, at the end of the day, Mustafa says that elections are won at the polling station. And indeed, this also has been, again, re-emphasized by the former EC chair. And we're talking about Dr. Afarijan.
Yes. Why? Just last week, Afarijan is saying that for us to have free and fair 2024 elections, we should go back. IPAC must work. And the Electoral Commission...
That goes against you. You boycotted it.
We did not boycott. It is what they are doing there. It is the issues, what they are doing there. You go, they call a meeting, certain decisions that will not be taken, then they will come and say the IPAC discussed this when it wasn't tabled for a discussions. You understand? That is the point that we are making. So for me, my brother Mustafa, we all know...
We'll go to Kumasi soon and get the updates.
Yes, we all know how to win elections in this country. Elections are won at the polling stations. But there are processes that lead to clean and transparent elections. So those... We collate our results. Why? Why I collated my results. Everybody parliamentarian collated their results. So what I'm trying to say is that the MPP cannot be proud of their record.
Very proud record.
They cannot.
Why can't they be proud? They are in government.
Look, they are in government. Yes, they are in government. Yes, they are in government because they won the elections.
You don't go there. You'll be bruised.
Roland,
you'll be bruised.
The Afro Barometer report that you talked about, how Ghanaians perceive the judiciary. Is it President Mahama who did the research? It's not President Mahama.
Give me
it's not
one
President
year
Mahama.
That
it's not President Mahama it's not President Mahama who conducted the Afro Barometer research. It's not President Mahama. So President Mahama is just emphasizing the fact that the public do not have confidence in the judiciary. That is all that he's talking about. And he says that when he comes, we will have a balanced delivery system as far as our judiciary is concerned.
So that is the point that now we need to create a balance to the judiciary. Please just conclude for me.
Roland, you are experienced. Afro Barometer. We have discussed Afro Barometer over the years. Which year has it come that has favored the police?
Well, in 2016, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is now the president, said everything will change.
We have done
so
automation.
It's normal.
We have done
automation.
We have done automation of the court. Work is in progress. At the end of the day, it is perception and not reality. It's perception. The Afro Barometer, report. Of course, over the period, over the years under John Dramani Mahama, it's been the same. It is bizarre, almost absurd, to create the impression that there's a certain balance that you now want to come and counter. So that when you come into office, everybody you are going to appoint is an NDC person. Roland, my brother, all these appointees came to Parliament for vetting. And you people are there.
Why did you bring them?
And you vetted and approved them.
Why did you bring them?
So if you thought that they were politically exposed, why didn't you raise it at Parliament? We pay you people at Parliament to do diligent job, not to go and sit there and drink tea and get up and go home.
The president was actually also elected. The president was also elected.
And whine across the place for no reason. That's not why.
I think they're just whining.
They are whining and being crybabies, and it is not going to inure to the benefit of this country.
So you're saying it's not survival of the fittest?
I'm coming.
Are you saying it's not survival?
No, His Excellency, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, was elected flag bearer of NDC some 4 months ago or so. Till date, he's yet to provide any policy alternative in this country. So far, nothing. All he's doing is
Wow.
talking from
You've not
here
heard of the big push?
and
The
there.
big push?
Wait, what push? Please, we are not joking. We are being serious about the progress of this country.
Well, at least he advised
Then now we are
the
being
president
told
and the finance minister
which-
to go to the IMF before you did. Oh, that's a good policy.
I don't want to laugh this morning on National TV.
Yeah,
I don't want people to think
and you
I'm
didn't
laughing
take
at the
those as
policy.
well, also coming
Roland,
from the
Roland.
Now let's go to Kumasi.
This-
What we have at the Apentin Apiaminka University, we have a student getting burnt during the hall celebrations
want the
of
IGP to come and
Opoku-Ware Hall.
win the election.
Now, I want to get the latest update from William Evansinkum. And William, if you're giving us the latest update, what really are the school authorities doing to investigate this incident?
Well, so the statement that they released, that was on the 2nd September, was very crisp, or if I should say very brief. They wouldn't give further details as to how they're going to conduct that, because it is a case that definitely will have to involve the security to be able to conduct an effective investigation. But the statement that they issued, it was more or less like going solo, that they are going to investigate this particular incident, but they wouldn't give further details as to whether they're going to do that with the police or any other security agency. But what is also not certain is whether or not they are going to stop such kind of possession, in as much as it is an isolated case. Maybe it is something that they would want to delve much deeper into. Well, I mean, these are some of the few or snippet of information I'm picking from the corridors of the school administration. I wouldn't say that it is an affirmation or confirmation, but I understand that it is something that they are also going to consider, although it is an isolated case.
So, this incident, we're told that it's part of the fraternal hall celebrations of the school, just like other universities. Did they know some of these incidents do happen by way of the hall celebrations and the action that they undertake? And so what effort did the authorities make to make sure they provided some level of emergency services just in case things go haywire, like we've seen in this case?
Well, absolutely. So when it comes to the display, it is something that they've been doing. I mean, the burning pot, something that the guy has been using for a very long time, just to entertain his colleagues. I mean, and this particular thing is done by the Dons. That is the group lodging at the Opoku-Ware, the second hall, who normally give such kind of displays. And he's been doing that. I mean, it's called the chief priest. He's been doing that for a while. But it is quite intriguing how this whole thing, I mean, turned sour as far as 25th August incident was concerned. And it gives, I mean, some of the students that have engaged, they are giving me the impression that perhaps he might have applied some highly inflammable lubricant, or if you like, a combustible lubricant. For instance, one student who, I mean, happens to be an eyewitness told me he saw this blackish lubricant on him, and he suspect that he might have applied a combustible lubricant. And of course, every combustible lubricant is not friendly to fire. I mean, anytime it gets in contact with fire, it ignites. And that is what he is saying. We cannot independently ascertain the veracity of this particular claim. And of course, as I said, the school says, or the university is conducting investigation, and we will hasten to drawing any conclusion in order not to circumvent any investigation that they are conducting at the moment. But that is what some of his colleagues believe, that he might have applied some combustible, highly inflammable lubricant, which isn't very friendly with fire.
So right now, what remains now?
What remains now is for the university authority to really ascertain the veracity as to what really caused the death of Prosper Owusu.
Yeah.
And then going forward, whether they are going to bar the use of burning pot, or what actually goes into this kind of celebration, exactly what they are going to do, whether they're going to apply some limitations in order to halt future recurrence. I think that is the sole prerogative of the university, and which we are going to follow keenly.
Well, this is a very sad incident. We'll see how that goes. William Evans Inkum giving us the latest on that. And Mustafa, what do you make of this? I know that we've all been to universities, part of fraternities, halls, and very exuberant. But this is a very sad incident.
A very sad one. Very, very sad. And my condolence to the bereaved family. So I got wind of it over the weekend. And I was saddened by the incident, because, I mean, as a parent, to be home and get such a dreadful call is one that I shudder to think how the parents would take it. A mathematics student in his third year. Clearly, you see this is a brilliant chap coming up. As the National Youth Organizer, you know.
Is it part of TESCON or TEN? Which of them?
No, the SRC is a bit different from the.
No, I mean but he's a student leader. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of where he belongs, at the end of the day, an unfortunate incident has happened. As National Youth Organizer, working with these campuses, I've paid a courtesy visit to the Chief Vandal. I've gone to the Opo Lord. I've gone to Chief Priest at Katanga. You know, they do these rituals. But I think that this one, the video I saw, very disturbing. Very disturbing. And I pray and hope that school authorities would henceforth regulate some of these, rituals and stamp out the dangerous ones, like we have seen students playing with fire. Fire is a bad master, but a good servant. And the students should get to know that. Fire is a very, very bad master.
Very tragic.
Yes, but a good servant. Let's fire serve us well.
As a caucus, as an office, are you going to reach out to them, pay an official visit to them?
Yes.
I'm sure you have your wing also on the campus.
Yes, on the campus. We are waiting for the school to finish their investigations. And I also want to urge the school to open up to maybe the Ghana Police Service to come in with more forensics. They might not have the capacity to do an in-depth investigation into the entire issue. So I also want to urge the university authorities to open up to the police and get them to also come and assist.
All right. So we have
that's a sad situation.
We have Money from the UK who says that we should protect the institutions that are destroying our democracy. So he says I should ask you that, whether the way to go about is destroy those institutions. Now, he says he belongs to what they call Bold to Defend group. They'll be part of the demonstration tomorrow. Is a demonstration coming on? The Occupy Bank of Ghana, is it coming on?
Yes, it's coming on. It's
coming on. Will you be part? Will you be part of that demonstration? I have Kwablavi of Pokwase Benghazi says, whether IGP has spoken secretly with John Mahama or not, the MPP can remove him. The MPP government can't use the IGP against the NDC party in the next coming election because it is not going to work. Okay, so we have this one also from him. Now, Julius Agaoa and Tahiru Aswansi, he says, I agree with former President John Dramani Mahama because gradually the current president is collapsing our judiciary by appointing party-exposed persons to be doing his bidding and those who are his close associates. President Mahama has said the facts. The president has really packed the court very well, but nothing is impossible for God. That's Prince Henry Kufuor. Then we have this one from Lawyer Ken. Lawyer Ken says, tell the MPP representative that once there is a vacancy, the lawyer applies and it doesn't matter who is the president, but for Akufo-Addo, the appointments are too obvious to be ignored. This one is from Lawyer Ken. I have this one also from Kofi Sika. JM has continuously and consistently spoken about the 24-hour economy as a means to open up the economy and create more employment. So Mustafa shouldn't say what are his own contributions and policy directions. Mr. Halley says the MPP man is confused. Oh, yo. Okay. Now, Kizito from Teman said, it is clear that the president has succeeded in collapsing all independent state institutions by appointing those close to him by associates. I have Blueprints, who is writing from Esikado Kitan. Left to me alone, Article 71 office holders and their emolument clause should be looked at to bring fairness in the system. I strongly support a review of that clause because the politicians are milking the nation for quite too long. Greetings to Honorable Charles Bissio, the incoming MP for the constituency, you say. Mr. Kuma says, is Mr. Mustafa saying election is only won at the polling station? What about the military and police who came in the last election with guns and killed innocent citizens? So far, 8 people dying and no responses.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Tikofi, who says the Assin North case is a typical example of what we are discussing. Now, Mr. Osei Bonsu is talking about the economy and many other things. So, hey, I have many messages, so how to read them is up. Okay. Now, Awudu Kalio, I'm unable to watch your show this morning because I'm attending a training program, but I can say that we need fairness in the system, whether it's MPP or NDC. Currently, there's no fairness. Kalio. All right. I have this one. Okay, so let's do some cash outs. Okay, so we'll prepare the grounds for cash out. And again, we encourage you. I always love this segment because I'm always an ardent patron of cash out. *439#. *439#. Can we do the cash out this morning before Mustafa says he's a Muslim? So, not that he says you're a Muslim.
I'm
right?
a Muslim.
Okay. Muslims don't play bets, right?
Well, I can speak for myself.
Okay, but you don't do it. So let's cash out. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, cash out. So the first number winning is 0546229 and counting. So we'll call that number if we're able to. And then the second one, let's do the second one. Let's do the second one quickly. I hope that is my number. The host winning cash out. It would be nice, Keke.
We will investigate that.
Oh, but if it's mine, I bet you will know. I won't mention it. All right. So now cash out. 0244823. It certainly is not mine. Now let me say good morning to a great friend of mine.
Tell the last numbers.
Who lives in North Carolina, Charlotte to be more specific. Kalni Dominion, as well as your wife Angela and the children. We love all of you right here on the show. I have this one from Cantona. I did my master's with a guy who was a lawyer, and the MPP constituency chairman for Doma was appointed a judge of the High Court afterwards by this government. This one is coming from Mr. Cantona. All right. Yes, really? I'm ending on.
You're ending?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't comment on this.
We have the winner.
Students
and the
case.
students thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the winner. Good morning to you. Good morning, sir. Or madam.
Yeah, hi, morning.
Yeah, you're the winner of the first draw of the cash out. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Eric Dako.
Oh, congratulations to you. Where are you talking to us from?
This is from Dansoman.
Oh, Dansoman. I'm sure you've gotten the notification, right?
Yes, I have seen. I have something has popped up, but I haven't.
Please watch it quickly. Dansoman Eric winning the first draw of the cash out. Are we calling this? Charlie, congratulations to you.
All right, thank you.
I want to share in your joy. So, but make sure you spread the word, right? And it's through the short code *439#. *439#. Okay. Okay, so we'll call the second one. So your comment on the student burning incident.
Well, I let me also add my voice by saying a big condolence to the family of the deceased. Mr. Osu, who met his untimely death. But let me also advise the schools authorities that, such programs, they should try to always see if some of these activities that students are, always going to carry out. You just don't allow some of these activities. And let me also caution the public that, Mr. Osu could have been helped, could have gotten help from his colleagues, but I could see today what many of us are quick to do is to be videoing. Whilst this guy was struggling, you never saw any student who tried to help him. What all of them were doing was videoing and all of that. So I think that the guy could have been safe if some of his colleagues were prompt. Probably they could get water and pour on him and all of that, but that never happened. It's unfortunate that you send your ward to school up to university level, then to hear that this is how he's dead. It's unfortunate. So let's monitor and scrutinize some of these activities that are being carried out on various campuses. Lastly, my brother Mustafa, go and read Kandapar comments about the judiciary. Go and read Professor Atuguba's research. Atuguba's research about judges. Atuguba's research about judges.
That there are so many ways of dealing the country.
All right, back.
Life can get hectic, and sometimes we forget to prioritize our well-being. That's where Vano Mineral Water steps in. A refreshing solution packed with essential minerals, Vano Mineral Water keeps you hydrated and balanced. Whether you're at home or work, Vano Mineral Water is there to keep you going.